Houston, say again, please.
Houston, we've had a problem.
Hey there folks, and welcome you all to yet another vlog of mine. Once again, we are back in the proper surroundings for doing these vlogs, and I've been doing a lot of the ones recently just using the phone, which is fine, it's what I bought it for, but it's nice to have the little knickknacks behind me and what have you. We were using this last week, but up until last week I think I've been doing phone vlogs for quite a while, so it is nice to be back in these surroundings again with the lovely Skyrim pillows and all the paraphernalia behind me. There is a few things. I also, hey, it's been a while since I've wore a baseball cap, people, you know what I mean? Going back a few years, isn't it? I can't remember the last time I wore one, actually. I think it was before, probably about a year, I think. Because I got the caps around a sort of wintry period, so anyway, it doesn't matter. Here we are, we're back with baseball caps, people. I should bring the flat cap back at some point, I am sure. I have a few, enough about hats, people. And before we get going, flagons up to you all. Whew. Flagons up Friday once again, people. F you Friday. Oh, that's good. Cheers to you all. Oh, it's always nice to wet the tonsils before I start rambling on. Okay, I have a few things that I want to talk about this week, and I've had quite a few people ask me what they should play out of the RPGs that I've been playing recently, Chaosbane, Diablo 3, Path of Exile, and I also wanted to give my opinion on Warhammer Chaos. Well, I call it Chaosbane, alright? It's Warhammer Chaosbane. But I'll call it Chaosbane from this point forward. And I wanted to give my opinions on... I've now recorded 9 parts, which is about, I think, well, 9 hours maybe. It's probably about 8.5 hours, something like that. A few of the episodes were about 45 minutes long. So, but I'm really enjoying it, but I'll give my proper opinions on that. And I wanted to, with E3 looming on Tuesday, we all know that PlayStation isn't there, so they're not making a big song and dance of it. For the first time in God knows since whenever, PlayStation aren't bothering turning up because they didn't feel like it was worth their while, because we already know what games are coming for the PS4. There's nothing really to announce until the PS5 is on its way, really, from their perspective. We already know the Death Stranding's on its way. We already know that The Last of Us 2's on its way. We've got Ghost of Tsushima on the way. So we've got all of these things happening before the PS4 finally fades away to being last gen and PS5 comes along to become new gen. I don't think you have to be a complete genius to work out that they will call it a PlayStation 5. I don't know, there's been stranger things happen with this new guy in charge, but anyway. I'm going to have a dig at this guy every time. But anyway, so there you are, with E3 looming, I noticed that there was an Xbox sale on, an E3 sale, of which they're going to add to, I think, regularly as E3 is on. So the sale is from the 7th to the 17th, I think. So that's today until the 17th. And I think E3 starts on Tuesday. Don't quote me on that. But I will probably... most years that E3's been on, I've done some kind of video on what was announced, what was coming. So I may well do that next week. I will certainly watch I'll certainly watch the Xbox press conference, or keynotes, or whatever they call it now. And I'll see what else is going on. There's probably a Nintendo one as well. But I'll see, because one of the other big ones isn't there. Is it EA? I think EA aren't there. Or they're not doing it. Well, they may be there, but they're not doing a big conference. They're just doing a floor thing where you can try stuff out. So anyway, so they're the reason for doing this particular video was that there was an E3 sale on the Xbox store, so I thought I would hunt through that for you and see if I could pull out any RPG sales that were on. In the midst of all of that, I thought, well, I will check the PlayStation store for you PlayStation people that don't have an Xbox and see if there is anything happening on there. There's no grand sale as such, but there was a few offers that I found that are pretty good, and I've only picked out RPGs, and I haven't looked at JRPGs. I've just looked at sort of more westerny ones. So we're going to rattle through those first. So we'll rattle through those, and then we'll talk about my Chaosbane thoughts, and then I'll talk a bit about which of the 3 I've been playing recently I think you should play and why. Although I think you should play all 3 of them. I'll say in what order maybe, that kind of thing. So kicking off with the Xbox One sale. This is the store sale. So if you go to the digital store on the Xbox store, Now, we'll start with Diablo. Now, there's a few people saying that they wanted to play Diablo again on the Xbox One because they played it on the 360, or they had played it on PS4 and had moved over to Xbox. So, but I basically at that point said wait for the offer to be. I bought it when it was on offer. It is now on offer again for the Eternal Collection at £18.14. The Diablo 3 Eternal Collection has all of the DLC in it, all of the expansions, everything you would need from Diablo 3 as a game. And it's £18.14, as I say. So you won't get, I don't think you'll ever see it much cheaper than that until a Diablo 4 comes out. Now is your time to buy it if you're an Xbox One player. So I couldn't recommend it more. It's a fantastic game. If you've never played it, go buy it and play it. If you've played it on another platform and you were waiting for the chance to, for it to be cheap enough to play it, go buy it now and play it again. And it plays stunningly beautifully on the Xbox One X, which is what I've played it on. It's absolutely gorgeous. Next on the list was a game I played the demo of, but it wasn't for me, but a lot of people loved it, is Monster Hunter World, which is sitting at £16, and Witcher 3 is sitting at £7.49. The expansion for Witcher 3 is sitting at £7.99, so you can get all of the DLC to go with Witcher 3 for 14 quid. So I can't imagine there's many people watching this channel that, I'm going to have another sip of this, that has not played The Witcher 3. Cheers again. You know I would buy you all one if I could. If you were here right now, you'd all have a beer. But if you have played The Witcher 3 but you never played the expansions, it's a great time to buy the expansion pack, which has all of the DLC, because there was a couple of really good story DLCs. I haven't played those, although I have bought them ages ago in a sale of a similar type. And yeah, so for £7.99, you can get all of that DLC for The Witcher 3 and go and play that. It's an excuse to get back into the game, I suppose. Dark Souls 3 is sitting at £12.50. And if you want the deluxe edition, it's sitting at £17.44. Fantastic prices for that game. Really good game as well. Fallout 4 is back again with its usual sale price. This happens on PS4 and Xbox on a regular basis, but at the moment it's just on the Xbox. Although there's a similar type of thing on the PlayStation. I'll come to that though. So you can get Fallout 4 for £10. And you can get the season pass for £20. So the big deal, it's usually always £10 now for Fallout 4, but the season pass usually sits at 40 quid until there's a sale on, and you can get it for 20. And that's every single DLC that ever came for Fallout 4. So it's just the same as buying the Game of the Year edition. So for £30, you can get everything you would need from Fallout 4. However, there is a sale price on the Fallout 4 Game of the Year / Skyrim double disc set, or double game set. I don't know if it's double disc. It'll be double game set. Well, it's not double. It's digital, Steve. But the double game set is £28. For £28, for £2 less than the Fallout 4, which would include the season pass for 30. So it's £30 for the season pass and Fallout 4. You can get the Game of the Year edition of Fallout 4 and a copy of Skyrim for £28. That's £2 less to get 2 games and all the DLC. So if you don't have copies of those games on the Xbox One, it's an ideal time to buy it. Because obviously with that Fallout 4 being the Game of the Year edition, it's got all the DLC with it. You don't need the DLC pack. So that's a fantastic price, that, 28 quid for those two. I mean, even if you've got a physical copy of Skyrim for the Xbox One, you could sell it for a tenner to somebody, and this is if you haven't got Fallout 4, and then buy the Fallout 4 and the Skyrim double pack, and it would still be cheaper than just buying Fallout on its own, wouldn't it? So anyway, you know what I mean. Kingdom Come Deliverance, which is a more realistic type of RPG, and I have done a Let's Play on the channel up until about episode 14, 15, something like that. And to be fair, I was actually enjoying it. It was just a very difficult game time-wise to record for the channel, because I could spend like multiple hours in that game and only use a certain portion of the gameplay, just because of the meandering and the things that you have to do in it. So it just became difficult to do for the channel. But it is a great game. If you want something that's really soaked in history and is more realistic, there's no magics and any of that sort of thing. It's all about proper historical armor and clothing and weapons and all that sort of stuff. So it is a really interesting one, and there's been a lot of DLC for it. This price doesn't include the DLC, but there is a lot of DLC has come along for it, and I think a lot of the DLC has been free, to be fair. So if you've ever wondered about the game, you've ever got curious, it's currently £17.50, and it is a massive game. It's got a great little story in it, great main character, really down to earth, proper English kind of, or British, but English kind of soaked RPG. Really, really nice. So if you're ever curious about that game, we're looking for a good price to get it. It's £17.50, and as I say, I think a lot of the DLC was free that came for that, and it's still coming. There's still stuff releasing for that regularly. There is a game called Mordheim City of the Damned for £7.49. Now, I have looked at this game several times, and I've been not put off, but I've kind of not bothered because I didn't know if it was the sort of game that I would want to play. I think it is it's kind of a third-person strategy type game. All I can suggest is going and having a look on one of the store's video clips to get an idea, or YouTube. Go onto YouTube and have a look. But it is an RPG. It's just not it's not the bog standard way of playing an RPG, but it's well worth having a look at. And I think it got a fairly decent praise when it came out. It's another Focus Entertainment game. So that's pretty much it for the RPGs. This is me picking out the really good deals, by the way. There was other deals on there, but I don't classify £60 to £40 as a deal because they're always overpriced online anyway. Now, just as a non-RPG game, and if you've never played this game, it is a game that I played for the first time on the PS. Yeah, it was the PS4. Oh, I can't remember now. I'm sure it was a PS4. But anyway, I played it, and I just fell in love with it. It is not a long game. It's very short. It's just a beautifully constructed game. It's got beautiful little puzzle gameplay with... The way that it plays is just absolutely gorgeous, and it tells this amazing, beautiful story in this beautiful world as you play through it. And it's called Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. And effectively, it's you just go on this journey with these two brothers, and in order to achieve all of the little tasks you have to do through the game, you have to, one brother's controlled with this hand and the other one's controlled with this hand, and it's absolutely genius the way that it was put together. So the puzzle it's not puzzles, it's like, it is and it isn't. You basically got to move them through areas using a hand per brother, and up walls and climbing, and it is just stunning, and it was really beautifully directed. It's got a really beautiful story, as I say. It'll bring a tear to your eye as you play through it. It is really, really, really beautiful game, and I cannot recommend that game enough. If you want to get a small taster of what the game's like, or if you really don't want to play it, you can watch it on the channel. Look for it on my channel, Brother: A Tale of Two Sons, and I played it right through, and I think I managed to do it in 4 parts. It's not a long game at all, but it is £4.49, and for £4.49, it is absolutely well worth you trying it, because it's brilliant. It's an absolutely brilliant game, and it is not the sort of thing I would normally go for. When it came out back this is a number of years back now, but when it came out, I just saw people raving about it, and I thought, I'm going to give it a go. And I think I saw it on sale at that point, and I thought, I'll give it a go. And I loved it so much. I've played it several times now, one of which of those times I recorded for the channel, and up it went. So it's there for you to enjoy, or if you just want to get a little taster of it, you go and watch the first part at the beginning and just get a little feel for it. And if you think it's going to be for you, then go and buy it and cease watching so it's not spoiled. So there you are. So that's it for the Xbox offers. PS4 wise, although it's nothing to do with E3, they're just offers that I saw. Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition is $24.99, so that's with all the DLC that came with that. And I've actually not finished that game. It's a sentence I use too often, people. Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition, $24.99. That game is stunning. It is an amazing game, and I'm really, really, really shameful that I haven't finished it. I need to go back and get that sorted out. Elder Scrolls VR. I don't have VR, but if you are a VR owner, it's down at £20. It's normally £40. Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition is at $15.99 and $12.99 for Standard Edition. So if you want Fallout 4 with all of the DLC, it's $15.99. That's pretty good, that, isn't it? Pretty sweet. I mean, bearing in mind that the Xbox deal was £10 for the game and £20 for the DLC, that Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition at $15.99 is an absolute bargain if you haven't got Fallout 4 already. Witcher 3 is $12.99 on the PS4. And Bloodborne Game of the Year Edition is at $15.99 and Standard Edition is at $12.99. I mean, that is just, in my opinion, possibly the best game of this gen, Bloodborne. I still haven't finished it, but it's just a masterpiece, that game. Absolutely brilliant. Dragon Age Inquisition, which is an absolutely stunning game. The Game of the Year Edition for that on the PS4 is £3.99, people. £3.99. If you haven't played Dragon Age Inquisition yet and you were thinking, oh, I don't know, like, if it's for me, go and buy the hell out of that and get it played. Because it's a cracking RPG, that is. For £3.99, Jesus Christ, I wish I hadn't played it and owned it yet for that bloody price. So there you are, that's the offers that I found on both stores. Some cracking deals in there, so hopefully there's something I've mentioned there that you haven't played or you're thinking about playing that you can go and buy now. So moving swiftly on, we shall talk about my Chaosbane thoughts, shall we? I mean, a lot of you have been playing it. I mean, you've been leaving comments saying I'm up to this point, I'm struggling with this boss, and, you know. Funnily enough, the boss fight's an interesting one. We'll come to it. But let me talk first about the structure of the game and the world. When I first started playing it, so you came into character creation and I thought, all right, I'm getting ready to sort of make myself look like something, name my character, all that sort of stuff. None of that stuff's there. You just pick whether you're an elf, or dwarf, or warrior, or whatever. There's 4 different classes. And I picked the scout elf, the forest wood elf, whatever it's called, which is the bow character. And just cracked straight into it. Didn't bother me that I couldn't design a character. Didn't bother me. In fact, it was a relief I didn't have to name the character, to be honest with you, because I always get bloody caught thinking, what the hell am I going to name it now if I can't name it? Or you get in that thing where, because it's an online game, you've got to come up with an original name like Path of Exile. So it was actually a bit of a relief that I didn't have to faff around and I could just get stuck straight into it. Because let's face it, I mean, those sort of characters, you can't bloody see them anyway. And really, what difference does the name make in the end? So it was nice just to be able to crack straight into the game. And the minute I started playing it, I loved the feel of the combat. I loved the feel of the running around. It just feels more grounded than Diablo. I'm not saying it's a better game than Diablo. Don't get me wrong, because it isn't. But it's just in a gameplay sense and in a visual sense, it feels more real. And I think that's why I kind of fell for it a little bit in the beginning. Now, the only thing that is letting this game down is its environments. And it's not because they don't look amazing, because they do. They look fantastic. It's because they're making you run around the same areas over and over again. I mean, I recorded... Oh, I'm trying to think now. We've done 9 parts, and I think episode 6 was the boss fight of Act 1. So I did 6 hours, well, maybe 5.5 hours of that game, and I was running around the same sewer section for that entire time. And for me, that is far too long to be in one section. And admittedly, when you go back to these sections, the chests reappear, you get better loot, you get, and the battles get harder and all that sort of stuff. And it didn't take away from the fact that I was enjoying it still, but it did land a small seed of boredom. Not a massive one, just a small one. Because the immediate, whoa, look at that, newness just was lost for 5 hours. There was nothing new to look at. Well, that's harsh. There were new areas within the sewers, like massive water wheel areas and stuff. You did come across extra stuff to look at. But you get my point. Like, I don't want to be in a sewer for 5 hours. Like, it's too much. So, I mean, it does work with the story, because you're trying to clear out the bandit. But I think they've done the story like that specifically because it was like, right, we've got this sewer section, what we're going to do in there and blah. We've got this town called Prague, what are you going to do in there and blah. I mean, I'm in the Prague section probably about halfway through, maybe. And again, I've got 2 doorways to go in, but they end up in the same place. They end up in Prague, and it's the same streets you're running around, just with harder fights and chests to reopen. So the only thing that lets the game fall down a little bit is its environments. I want more environments to be able to keep my interest up. Path of Exile, you constantly move an environment. So, from one area to the next is very, very different, and they're very lush environments and very interesting to look at. There's a lot going on. There's birds flying up from the floor. There's splashing water falling over you. Those little things aren't there in this game. So even when you're kept in that area for a really long period of time, there isn't that buzz of, just random things happening around you, like a bird flying off or just, non-killable things just walking around, like, little scorpions and stuff like that in Path of Exile and Diablo. It's the little things that are missing from the environments. So when you clear an environment, you're walking around the map to try and check you haven't missed anything. There's no living, breathing things happening. It's just empty streets you're running around, or empty sewer you're running around with no noises, or there's just a sense of realism not quite there. And this is me being very picky because I'm addicted to that game. And I'm absolutely loving it. And if all I ever did was that 9 hours, I've pretty much got my money's worth. I've got it for £36 and but I will be playing a lot more of it. I'm really enjoying it. It's the only thing that lets it down is just that extra bit of life in the environments and changing environments. Like, you need more environments. So outside of that, the level up system's fantastic. There's several ways to level up. There's several different trees and structures you can go to try and get powers. You can mix and match the powers the way you want to. Absolutely loving the way it levels up. Brilliant. It's a really good level up system. The loot, I'm really enjoying. There's so much stuff dropping, and it's been really generous with the loot. I've got some really cool stuff. And I think probably my only gripe with the loot is there seems to be weapon set types for each character, and there's very minor changes in when you're changing it. Sometimes it'll be a complete color change. Other times there'll be a little bit of material there that wasn't there before, But in the main part, when you're changing stuff over, there's very small changes as to what's happening. There's no major change of armor look or anything like that. But it's not to the point where it's dull. It's not like Kingdoms of Amalur where you pick up the same, uber piece of armor and it's just the same as the crap one you had on earlier. In visual sense, it's the same as the one you had on. It does look a little bit different. So I'm still really loving the loot system. I'm loving it when I pick stuff up. Every time I pick stuff up, I'm like, I've got to have a look and see what I've got. So it's really exciting. And it's a loot drop fest. I mean, it drops a lot of stuff for you to look at. So that's really, really good. So I'm really, like, outside of maybe just the armors being a bit more visually different and the environments changing a bit more often and being a bit more full of life. Other than that, it's a terrific game. So I'm absolutely loving it, and I'm looking forward to doing a lot more. The funniest part of it all, I'm going to have another sip, people. The funniest part of it all is the boss fight at the end of Act 1. I kid you not. I think I went through that entire first part without dying. I'm sure I did. Or if I did die, it was once. It was what I died once. Yeah, I did. And I think it was when I was... It was a stupid reason. I died once in that entire... I'm pretty sure it was only once. In that entire section of Act 1, I died once. So I was holding up really well. I was clearing out the areas. I was getting all the chests. I was doing really well. I was making sure my armor was right. Doing ubering up. I felt uber. First boss fight at the end of Act 1 boss fight, or Chapter 1 as it's called. I walked in, I was like, bring it on. I'm awesome. I kid you not, it was like bloody Dark Souls all over again. I mean, I nearly left the whole video up because it was that bloody funny that I just could not beat this guy. But I'm not the only one that struggled, because I've had people leaving messages. Sorry, I'm forgetting your name, who it was that left the message this morning. But someone had been trying, 30 attempts and still hadn't managed it. I don't know what class they were. But it must have taken me about 15 attempts to get the guy down. Because it's one of those bosses, massive red bar, 3 dots underneath. So you've got to get the bar down 3 times to kill him. And... pretty much, I left on the video my first attempt when I first walked in, and I got him down to nearly had finished the second bar, I think, so I'd only had 1 and a bit bars to go. And then pretty much every attempt after that, I got him down to the last bar, sort of halfway down, or 3/4 of the way down, or halfway down. And it was that last bar, it was just a nightmare. It was like bloody hellfire. Just the amount of enemies, his special moves, poison everywhere. But don't get me wrong, it is an absolutely brilliant boss fight because you can see what it is you need to do. It's just doing it with the massive amount of things that are going on around you. And I got frustrated, but it wasn't because I felt like the game was broken or that it was, there was anything wrong. It was simply frustration at the fact I knew what I had to do. It was me carrying it off with the sort of precision that's going to get me through this fight. And you've got to bear in mind that you can only heal once, and then there's a massive cooldown on the next heal. So you've got to run around if you have to use it and then suddenly get whacked again. You've got to run around and try and not get hit until your next heal is available. So, it was a terrific boss fight, but it was like, On the video, I've left up my first attempt and I've left up my attempt that I finally did it on. And even the one I finally did it on, I was at half health, didn't have a heal ready. It's like, it felt good though, and it felt good in the sense that I wasn't lucky. I had really worked out as best I could how I had to do this. So, it was a terrific boss fight, but there was a massive leap between how uber I felt to how good I was in this boss fight. And obviously it's not just me. It was a hard fight. And for my liking, this game is actually, battle-wise, you can't stand still like you can in Diablo and Path of Exile. You have to move around, especially in my class, which is I haven't tried the other classes, but as the archer, as the elf, you've got to fire off some moves and jump back, roll out the way. You've got to think about what you're doing. You can't just stand there and hit different moves. You've got to think about your strategy of taking these things on. So I actually feel like the battle system itself is a little bit more fun and interesting than the other two games. And I like, in order of liking the battle system, I think it's probably Chaosbane, Diablo, Path of Exile. Because Path of Exile, there's no interest in waiting to move out the way, other than just walk away or run away. There's no dodging, there's no, it's very uninteresting. It's just like, I've either got a shield that's going to help me or armor that's going to help me, I've just got to stand there and take it. Or, health on hit, that sort of stuff. So from a battles perspective, I'm actually finding the Chaosbane slightly more interesting and fun and more addictive to play. So, I don't feel like I just have to hit, move, a move, wait for the cooldowns, a move. I'm actually moving the character constantly around. So, yeah, it's got a lot of bonuses to it, that game. So moving on from that then, so that's my thoughts after 9 parts. Moving on from that, people have been asking me which one should they play. Should it be Chaosbane, Diablo, or Path of Exile? My answer is this. Path of Exile is free to play. You don't have to spend money on it if you don't want to. So you can start playing it and enjoy it anytime you like. It is a massive game though. And if you get soaked up in it, you're going to be there for bloody months at least. And it's constantly updated. It's built to be kind of never ending really. But it does have kind of an end game kind of thing. And then you've got the seasonal stuff and all that malarkey. But it will forever be added to. So, but in my opinion, at the moment, if you haven't played those games or you're looking for an excuse to play Diablo again or whatever, my opinion is this. Wait for Chaosbane. But if you're looking at those 3 games, right, I'm not saying you should wait for Chaosbane to drop in price because it's a great game. It's well worth the £36 I paid for it. But at the moment, if you're on Xbox, certainly, you can get Diablo for £18.50 or whatever it was I said earlier. So go and buy that now and go and get playing it. Because Diablo 3 is a fantastic game. And you will rattle through that, in no time at all. Loving the story. Play it as all the different characters you want to multiple times. Do the end of game stuff. And you'll spend a lot of time in there. And for that price, terrific game. Absolutely fantastic. Just hold off and wait for Chaosbane. It's one of those games that will probably drop in price. No, not massively, but it'll come down to 30 quid or whatever, 20 quid, probably within a matter of months. So you might as well wait off for it and pay that for it. And then Path of Exile, just do whatever you want because it's free. And it's always going to be free, so it's never going to change. So my opinion is, if you're looking for my answer, it is Diablo, then probably Path of Exile because it's free, and then just hold off on Chaosbane until it drops in price a little bit. And there you are. My opinion is given, people. And I think that's all I had for you. I have nothing else to say, and I'm going to go. I'll just sign off just like that. I'm going to have another sip of my beer while I'm here with you. There really isn't anything else. I am planning on, I suppose, channel update. We are going to continue. There is, what have I recorded? Oh, yeah. So you've had two Chaosbanes every day since Tuesday. There's been another 2 today. There's been, one was up at 11, one was up at 5. And there's another one timed to come on tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. And there is another, and then that's it for Chaosbane for now until I get more recorded. And then there is a Diablo episode. What part were we on? Whatever the last part was, it's the one after that, which was the last one of those I recorded. That's coming on Sunday morning at 9 o'clock. So you've got another video tomorrow and the day after, and then I need to record some more stuff for you, which I'll probably get done on Sunday or Monday or whatever. To be honest, I'm not a massive fan of posting videos up on a Monday. They get really bad viewing figures. I don't know what it is about YouTube on Mondays. People just don't watch YouTube on Mondays, or they don't watch me on Mondays. I don't know what that's all about. But the beginning of any week, like Mondays and Tuesdays, are the slowest days by far. So it's really interesting that. I don't know what that's all about. It must be the after weekend blues or something, because I don't know what, you'd think people would be looking for something to cheer them up, or I don't know. So that's what's coming. So far as mixing it up goes, we have 4 games now that we've got to try and keep up with. So I still want to try and finish off the PS3 Game of Thrones game if I can. Still want to do some more Path of Exile. Still want to do some Kingdoms of Amalur. Diablo's got to be near the end. So what I'll do is I'll probably rattle through Diablo just so that I can get it finished and have a complete Let's Play on it. So that will probably, I think if anything happens this week, it will be more Chaosbane and getting Diablo finished. If Diablo finishes sooner than expected, then I'll bounce somewhere between Path of Exile and Kingdoms of Amalur. It'd probably be quite good to get Kingdoms of Amalur, at least the main story done. Just so that I've got another Let's Play done there. There's still quite a lot to do in that game, though, even though I've done 50 odd parts. But there you are. It has been... Well, before we do that, flagons up once again to you all. If you haven't got any of these in your life as yet, go and fix that now, people. Seriously, it's Friday, for feck's sake. It has been an honour and a privilege serving for you once again in this vlog of mine, and I shall see you in the next one, folks. Take it easy. Bye.